Oh man, Jake Tapper is getting ripped to shreds by the internet after details from his new book about the cover-up regarding Biden's mental decline reveal that Joe Biden's condition was even worse than we thought. Now he's getting destroyed because he's trying to play this innocent role and throwing his hands up and absolving himself of any culpability in perpetuating the false narrative that Biden was mentally fit. Now my fiance says I need to get my hair braided because I look like a caveman, but coincidentally what you're going to find out in this video is even if I was a caveman, I could have done the job of president much better than Joe Biden. He was literally so brain dead that a prehistoric Neanderthal could have done a better job at running the country. He was literally so bad he created a new "so easy a caveman could do it" Geico commercial. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but I'm gonna start with what has to be the most crazy statement from this book about Joe Biden's actual condition.
So the White House physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, was telling White House aides that President Biden's deterioration of his spine, the degeneration, was so significant that if he fell one more time, that he might have to be in a wheelchair and serve in a wheelchair for his second term. But everybody pushed off the notion that he use a wheelchair until after the election. This is all part of a larger whole where the Biden White House tried to hide the extent of his deterioration, both physical and cognitive, as much as possible. In fact, as we all know, we all saw, as his shuffling gait got worse and worse from 2003 to 2004, they started putting aides around him as he walked to Marine One, the helicopter. That was to kind of hide from public view how bad his gait was, how bad his walking was, his shuffling, and also in case he stumbled again to make sure somebody was there. And this is just of a piece of an overall campaign to try to conceal from the American people the extent to which the president was really struggling to do his job.
The White House physician said that this man was so fragile that one more fall would have taken him out. And we all saw the way Joe Biden fell off bikes or tripped up the stairs to Air Force One or almost stumbled while just simply walking on the beach. Like this man's cognitive functions were non-existent. He couldn't speak in complete sentences. He would forget where he was. I remember I was watching an interview he did in the Amazon rainforest, and when he concluded, he just turns around and walks into the abyss. Combine all that with the physique that is so fragile that if you fall one more time, you're gonna be committed to a wheelchair. And this was the person that the Democrats had no problem letting run the country and wanted to run it another 4 years. And the fact that they covered it up and lied to the American people for 4 years has to be the biggest scandal in my lifetime. Now, here's where people were really firing on Jake Tapper when he tries to make it seem like he was just duped. He was just lied to by the administration. He and the Democrat establishment never took part in spreading any falsehoods. They were just simply believing what the people in the White House told him.
I'm just curious as to whether or not this kind of trying to hide what was happening with the president at the time had an impact on the press corps. Like, why didn't we hear some of these details from what they actually saw and were dealing with trying to get information?
Well, Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. But the bottom line is the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors about how bad things had gotten. And in fact, Alex and I started writing this book after the election of 2024, and we spoke with more than 200 people, most of whom, almost all of whom, were Democrats. And almost all of whom wouldn't be honest with us or wouldn't be candid with us until after the election. And then after the election, we found out all of these things that when you looked at what was going on with President Biden at the time, it probably doesn't surprise you the extent to which he was deteriorating. But now we have anecdotes and facts about what was really going on behind the scenes with details that Democrats wouldn't share with us until after Election Day.
I mean, Jake Tapper is so insincere, and I'm going to show you a clip coming up of him obviously spreading the Biden lie, but he's insulting the intelligence of the American people. We could all clearly see Biden wasn't well when he ran in 2020 from his basement, but every single day thereafter of his administration, it became more and more painfully obvious. And the Democrats want us to think that, oh, maybe it was cause for concern when he lost the debate to Donald Trump. No, we were calling this out for the entire 4 years. It was just undeniably obvious then, so you had to admit it. You were the ones who called us the conspiracy theorists, ridiculed the idea that Joe Biden wasn't as sharp as a tack, the best that he's ever been. So active, everyone's struggling to keep up. What Jake Tapper doesn't understand is that to the American people, he comes off in two ways. One, you're just lying. And two, that's the truth, you got duped. Well, that just shows the American people how pitiful our supposed top-rated journalists are. You're supposed to be the best in the business at asking the questions, uncovering the truth, and you just accepted a bold-faced lie from the White House that literally any person with eyes could see was not true. Now here's Jake Tapper 2020 absolutely ridiculing Laura Trump because she suggested that Biden's not all the way there mentally.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You are
to watch somebody on stage
that's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter.
Yeah,
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive decline.
That Joe Biden
I have one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure.
So that's just one clip out of many that are circulating X right now. But why I wanted to play this one in particular and why it's so funny is because obviously Jake Tapper released his book and Laura Trump had a response for him on Jesse Waters. Take a look.
Lara, do you think Jake Tapper owes you an apology?
Well, you can see for yourself in that clip, it wasn't just enough for him to deny the cognitive decline that was obvious to everybody with eyes and ears in the United States of America and quite frankly around the world, Jesse. He had to go a step further. He had to shame me and insinuate in an astonishing insinuation that I was mocking someone with a stutter. Nobody knew Joe Biden even had a stutter, I don't believe. But that got me a lot of hate from a lot of people. Captain Sully went on to write an op-ed to shame me even further after that interview. So I'm expecting a full-throated public apology at any point. I'm holding my breath from Jake Tapper and maybe from Captain Sully as well. But this is the reason that the legacy media has lost the trust of the American people. Only about 25% of the country believes these people anymore and thinks they can actually trust them.
And that's the thing about the mainstream media. They consistently lie, mislead, and get things wrong and never issue apologies. They never acknowledge it. And yet they wonder why the trust in the mainstream media is the lowest it's ever been. From the Russia to the good people on both sides, to the Hunter Biden, to the vaccine, to inflation, to the border crisis, and to Biden's mental health. They just lie, lie, lie. It's despicable. It's hyper-partisan propaganda, but yet they just want people to move on with their lives, to just forget about it. They don't care that there is zero credibility with the media. There is zero credibility with the experts, and they're not intent on repairing that relationship. I mean, inflation numbers just came out today, and they were lower than expected. And that's for the month of April, which includes full tariffs. So what did the experts say? Oh, tariffs are going to cause mass inflation. Prices are going to go up. What was the reality of the situation? Inflation went down. There were no price increases. But the experts aren't going to issue an apology or a correction. To them, creating a false narrative that Donald Trump is evil is much more important than honesty and truth. Listen to Scott Jennings talk about this perfectly on the CNN panel.
If things go south at the debate, me, Barack, Nancy, and Hakeem have a plan B. Schumer would later deny it. It's a political problem that we have here.
Did he mean go south at the debate in that Joe Biden totally, had a malfunction the way we saw, or did he mean just go south at the debate like he doesn't perform well? The fact
it could have been both.
The fact that he was only concerned about the optics and not about the fact that the president of the United States might be in cognitive decline, might be mentally impaired, to me speaks volumes about the lack of character of Chuck Schumer. But the idea that we did not know about this for the years leading up to the presidential campaign, we all saw it with our own eyes. Video after video, speech after speech, statement after statement. The Hur report. The fact that we have people saying today, oh, I didn't know. We had no idea, is outrageous. That's number one. Number two, the cover-up is outrageous. And number three, people were arguing with a straight face that this man could serve 4 more years until, of course, it became untenable at the debate.
Like they think this is a mundane revelation that people shouldn't be furious about. The commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, was not functioning for 4 years. Maybe that explains why things were so disastrous. But who was in charge of making these decisions? Who opened the border? Who caused the inflation? If it wasn't the president, and it clearly wasn't, we should be concerned that a bunch of unelected Obama bureaucrats were calling the shots. They should have invoked the 25th Amendment, got Biden out of there. They could have appointed their first Black woman president, checked off their DEI marks, and at least given the American people somebody who was not brain dead, even though Kamala Harris is virtually brain dead. This is a treasonous scandal that now people like Jake Tapper are trying to monetize. They are trying to monetize their complicitness in one of the worst scandals in American history. And he's so shameless about being a liar that he's just gonna continue to lie and say that he was never complicit. Let me show you this clip that emerged of him lying right to JD Vance's face, saying he was not complicit in spreading the Trump-Russia hoax, and then they play a video of him from 2016, obviously spreading the Trump-Russia hoax.
You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it, so we recovered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
No.
That was totally and preposterously false.
No.
Well, that's
what you just said is
why.
false.
President Trump has gone to, quote, extraordinary lengths to keep specifics about his meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin secret, even keeping them from top members of his own administration. Take a listen to how President Trump responded Saturday night when asked directly if he has ever worked for Russia.
I think it's the most insulting thing I've ever been asked. I think it's the most insulting article I've ever had written.
The president did not directly answer the question. It's a stunning turn of events. Do you think the president of the United States ever worked on behalf of the Russians against American interests?
I mean, the absolute lack of dignity you have to shamelessly lie as a public figure when it is so incredibly easy to pull up video evidence of you lying. You just don't care at that point. You think everybody's a fool. And that is the general attitude of the Democrat establishment that people find so off-putting. They lie and they mislead, even though it's so evidently dishonest. And people have the power of the internet at their hands to see that you're lying. But they all think we're so stupid that we just won't care. In the small, depressed group of Trump-deranged maniacs that is the Democrat Party at the moment proves to them that they are that stupid and they don't care. It's like the crazy homeless person on the street screaming about the rapture probably doesn't think that he's crazy, but the rest of society walking the streets knows that he is. And that's the Democrat Party right now. They're crazy, dangerous, and delusional, yet they've convinced themselves that they're the compassionate, moral, and righteous ones. Now, as one last cherry on top for you guys for this video, because I know you guys love this, you know that I love this, here is Walmart Obama Hakeem Jeffries being grilled about participating in the cover-up of Biden's mental health decline.
From the book, President Biden didn't even recognize George Clooney at a fundraiser that the movie star was actually hosting for him. Why should voters trust Democrats when it's clear so many in your party went to great lengths to keep Biden's condition hidden from the public?
I can't tell you what happened between George Clooney and President Biden. I wasn't at that event. What I can say is that we're not looking backward. We're going to continue to look forward, because at this moment, we've got real problems that need to be addressed on behalf of the American people, including the Republican effort to snatch away health care, snatch away food assistance, and hurt veterans.
You interacted with President Biden during those days, those final days he was president of the United States. Did you sense there was a major deterioration?
Well, in the conversations that I was able to have on behalf of the House Democratic Caucus in those final days, we simply expressed our perspective as to what would be best for the party at that given moment in time. President Biden subsequently made the decision that he was going to pass the baton to Vice President Kamala Harris. Of course, that was a decision that we supported strongly.
Look at our boy squirm. I mean, of course he couldn't answer the question, because that's the problem with the Democrats. They still haven't figured it out. They won't admit that they were wrong. They won't admit that their policies suck. They won't admit that their candidate sucked. But the American people knew that it sucked. They knew that their lives were worse. And until Democrats can admit that they made a mistake in the way that they ran the country, the American people are just gonna think, ew, why would I want to vote for the same policies that wrecked my life? It's like the worst thing the Democrats can do is just drag this loss out, and that's exactly what they're doing. At this point, you would think they have some sort of put together answer where they just say, yep, you know, we saw that he wasn't as sharp as he was. We lied to the people. We were really scared about Donald Trump. January 6th just happened. We thought that if we removed Joe Biden because he wasn't there, maybe you would have started, you know, riots. Maybe the MAGAs would have came and a civil war might have broken out. Like something, I don't know. Because at this point, it's no hidden secret that Biden is brain dead. And these people are just gonna keep saying, they had no idea. I interacted with him every day, but I had no idea. To me, he looked fine. It's like, dude, the secret's out. The lie's been exposed. The genie is out of the bottle. But yet, this is the party that claims Donald Trump lies as easily as he breathes. These are unscrupulous people, and as things keep getting better for Donald Trump, I am thrilled to see that they just keep getting worse for the Democrats. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. That's important. And I will see you guys in the next one.